guys, we are back today with the Maverick, and what we have for you here today is going to be a speaker upgrade, like a rear speaker upgrade. And what I have concluded here is, through just a little bit of trial and error and just my own little research, the speakers in the back of the Maverick, if you haven't already seen the how to remove the rear speakers, I just got done making that. And now this is going to be kind of a secondary to that video. It's how to kind of improve your stereo in the rear. The back speakers are 4-inch speakers. There's not a lot of improvement that you're going to get out of even an upgraded one of these. I listened to this at full blast and it actually sounded not too bad for what it is. So in my case here, I don't find it worth upgrading the rear speaker. And now there's kind of like a double whammy with that one, because I don't plan on keeping this truck long term. I'm not going to go into it and spend all this research into it. So what I actually concluded was I'm going to do a tweeter upgrade. I'm going to install some tweeters into the back of the truck, because like I said, those 4-inch speakers, they're not putting out a whole lot, and the tweeters, they make a huge difference in the sound. So with that, I think it's definitely going to balance out the rear as well, the sound. And if I was going to replace the back with 4-inch speakers, I really wanted to do like a 5 or a 6. And there's just no way for me to retrofit a 4x6 in here. I'm sure there is. Like I said, if I were keeping it long term, I might do it. But just looking at it, it's a little too much into it for me. So we're going to actually just put some back tweeters into this. So they're going to go right there. That's kind of where I found out they will look best and fit best and be out of the way. So we're going to do some retrofitting here. Of course, we have to do some retrofitting. So I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to flip the camera around here in a sec and tell you exactly what we're using to make this job happen. So let's go ahead and get started. Right now here, obviously for the tweeter and the equipment that I'm using to install the tweeter, what you're going to need, at least in this application, is going to be these Murda speaker tweeters. They pick these right up from the part store. I got these at O'Reilly's in my case, and so I got these just because these actually, you can adjust these tweeters. But aside from that, I got them because they give you different housings to use. So I'm actually going to need to use this different housing in this case, and I'll show you in a little bit here why we're using this. The tweeters actually sound really good. I already tried them out on the back. I just kind of put the terminals on the back speaker, and I already figured out which wires go where. But they do sound good, and I know Murda is kind of a lower end aftermarket brand, but like I said, in this case they sound well. And this is the tweeter outside of its enclosure, so it's just very dainty looking, but it's nonetheless, it's what we need to do to make our sound better. This does have a built-in crossover as well, so we're going to just wire this right into our rear speaker. And in that case, this is not the one we're using, but we're just going to solder right onto these two nubs, and that's where we will get our power from. So, and then we're also going to need a 1 7/8 hole saw right here to actually drill the hole into the plastic. And this is kind of what I'm afraid of. I'm really afraid of this, but I really want to try it out, so I'll go ahead and do it. But we're going to need one of these to obviously make a nice hole. I did a trial run right there, and it looks like everything kind of buttons up. So I'll try to show you before we get started. This casing we're going to pull apart here, and this is actually going to be drilled into the vehicle. I found some sheet metal I'm going to actually drill it into, and actually right here, this is going to be perfect, this little angle. It's going to insert like that. And then once we get it mounted, we're going to put this cap on top like this. And in theory, it should sit flush like that, obviously with this tweeter inside like that. So that's the goal. Hopefully it all comes through, but I'm going to start working on that right now. And again, this is what you need as of right now to do the tweeter installation. So coming over here to the rear, obviously you need to still take all this stuff apart to access the rear speaker. So yeah, but we're actually going to be using this piece right here. And so we're going to pull it back, and I've already marked it up where I want to mark it and drill the hole. We're going to drill a hole right there. It's almost the perfect perfect setup because, as I showed you on that casing, has a little bit of a slant into it. We're going to actually put the slant right here on this line. We're going to drill right into this. So as of right now, in my head, it should be pretty clean, and there's just enough clearance for that casing to fit flush right here. So that's the goal. It's going to be right here. It should look super clean when it's done, but there's only one way to find out, and obviously I'm very curious myself, so we're going to go ahead and get started on everything else. All right, guys, so it could have went one of two ways, and I'm very happy so far. So as you can see, we do have some plastic remnants here, but looking back here, we do have a perfect circle almost. So what I did was I actually fitted this in here. It fits almost perfectly flush, just like that. And with that, I needed to install some anchor points for, you know, the screws. So I took a drill bit and kind of drilled out the holes we're gonna need right there and there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some self-tapping screws, and I'm gonna mount this base right here and figure out the rest. We're gonna get some wiring done as well, but that is kind of what we're doing right now. That's how it's gonna sit in there, just like that. It's not gonna be perfect, but it's a back seat that doesn't get used a whole lot, and honestly, once everything is all shut, I can't shut it right now because of that speaker, but looking at it right there, looks pretty dang good. So let's go ahead and get some soldering out of the way. All right, guys, so we have the driver's side tweeter over there all mounted and ready to go. And of course, figuring this out, I took this panel off quite a few times to fit it over there, so I didn't button that up quite yet. I need to actually get this mounted first, and that way when we get everything all, like the tweeters mounted in the back there, we'll be able to pop the covers in, and obviously we'll be able to pop this in and then obviously pop the covers in. So what I have done now is I just put the hole into this right here. So I'm gonna actually run a lighter here if you guys do this. You know, make sure you get all the loose plastic off, but go ahead and run a lighter and kind of just melt everything. It'll all kind of fall back into the plastic itself, and it'll make it darker. Obviously it's pretty light. I'll go ahead and do this off camera, but you get the point. It'll actually make the plastic look a lot nicer. It'll get rid of that white so left over from the drill. So as you can see, it's kind of a tedious process, but I think the final product is going to look pretty good, and I'll show you what we've had to do. This has been kind of a lengthy custom job here, so definitely plan on some time, but I have everything all ready to go right there. This hole's all perfectly cut out and ready to go. I got the speaker up there all hung back up. Again, we ran the power from there to the speaker. There are crossovers in those tweeters, so we're not going to have any issue there handling the audio coming out back. So I'm going to go ahead and probably start the soldering on the other half over there, and then I'll get back with you and kind of show you what we're going to get done here. But yeah, we still got quite a few things left to do over here. All right, guys, so we have the other side buttoned up over there, and something I didn't really anticipate when putting it back together was modifying some of the trim. So what I'm challenged with now at this point in time is this nub right here. So this needs to go in here to obviously lock in against this up here. Where this locks in at, this is in the way. So usually this would go right in here. So what we are going to do is pretty much cut all of this until we get to about right there, so that can at least lock in with this clip and at least hold this down, and we'll still maintain a really nice look. But like I said, we're going to be cutting all of this, and obviously we're not going to worry about cut marks or anything because this plastic right here is going to be laying over top of this. So it's just kind of excess plastic we need to get rid of. So I already did it over there on that side. You can see it's all back together. Man, oh man, this was the best upgrade I could have done to the interior as far as the sound. They added such a great difference. As big of a headache as it's turned out to be, I'm really thinking this is something that somebody should figure out how to do on more on a professional type kit sales way. Like somebody should make a kit for this and sell it. Though this is just me going at it from what I can do with what I have here. It made a great difference. So I'm gonna try to go ahead and again get this all trimmed up, and I'll be back with the completed project here. So we are done. This has been a few hours later, and I have to say this job kind of whooped my ass, and that's only because I didn't know what I was getting into. Stuff like this, it's gonna take some time, which I suppose I did not anticipate for. So doing this, plan on quite a few hours, maybe 3 hours, 3.5 hours into the making of this. If you know what you're doing and if you got a good, clear idea. So hopefully with this video, you will have a better idea, and now you can kind of gauge it a little bit better. So I'm going to show you kind of what we've done here, but we're done, and I really think it was worth it. I wouldn't not redo it over again. I mean, this is definitely something that was worthwhile to do. And in all honesty, with the audio upgrade, we don't have a whole lot into the sound system. I mean, those tweeters were 25 bucks. Then the two fronts that came with the tweeters, that was another $110. So we have under $150, you know, into parts, making the sound system a lot better. Obviously, labor, if you're paying somebody to do this, it's going to be a lot more. But if you can do it yourself, hey, 150 bucks or so, give or take, whatever you want to spend on tweeters and, you know, speakers. So this is the finished product here. We have everything all buttoned up. I tell you what, these plastics, be super careful. They're very easy to remove, but just the clips with the metal retainers, as I said, super annoying. But there we go. They fit pretty well. There's a little bit of a slight gap, but I mean, for aftermarket, it's gonna happen. It's not gonna be perfect. So I'm just looking at them, they look good. This one is actually a little bit lower than the other side. Again, one of those things that there's not a lot of room back there. There is not a lot of room. So, I mean, there is a clip right up there. So you have to work around the clip when you're making the hole. There's just not a lot of clearance. So for that reason, that's why this side is a little bit lower than that side over there. But I have to say, I'm very, very satisfied with the finished product. There is the other side as well. I think this needs to be clipped back in there like that. But for the most part, everything went back together well. There's some stretch marks up there on that speaker plastic. But guys, I'm very satisfied with this. And I would definitely play some audio. But you can't play audio. You can't play music on YouTube. That's just what it is. So take it from me. If you know what you're doing, definitely recommend this. So next we're going to install a K&N air filter, so stay tuned for that on how to replace the air filter, if you will. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.